Well, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? And here we are at our closing arguments for Sixth Lord through House series, because today we are going to be tackling Sixth Lord in the 12th house, the last of the Mohicans. And what happens once the planet that controls your 6th house goes into the 12th house? Well, first of all, what is 6th house? And before I would get started, if you need to know where your 6th Lord is placed and where all your other lords through houses are, what conjunction aspects your planets are having, for that, check out the links here and check out my astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light. So, 6th house represents the house of diseases, house of enemies, obstacles. It's a house of struggles, house of war, going to war, house of routines, everyday routines that you have, house of small animals, small pets like cats, dogs, lizards, whatever pet you have, little mice are represented by 6th house. 6th house represents, institutions that also loan you money. And pretty much it's the house where your enemies are residing, where you have to go and fight, okay? And I don't know if I mentioned it's a house of diseases. Like whatever kind of disease you might have is going to be grown through the 6th house. And then 12th house is what? 12th house represents enlightenment, as in moksha. It represents imagination, subconscious mind, the divine power, imagination of the divine, connection to the divine, connection to the other dimension that we don't see, the dimensions that exist in the same realm that we are. You're working every day 9 to 5 and you think that's your universe. We're in the exact same dimension that is in the same realm. People don't even know what work is. They just have everything. They have money, they have happiness, they got the most beautiful wife, husband, kids, and that's their dimension. So all of the linkage to the other world that we only know subconsciously is the 12th house. 12th house represents multinational companies. Companies that you may work for in your own homeland, yet they are foreign companies. Like you working for GE in India, but yet GE is an American company. You're working for Toyota in India, it's a Japanese company. And then 12th house also represents foreign lands, visiting foreign lands. It represents, solitary confinement, private places, isolated places like monasteries, jails, asylums, anywhere that people are confined with some walls and they just don't have access to the material world. So what happens when 6th Lord goes into 12th house? Well, first of all, what this shows is that your everyday routine, whatever routines that are, they must fulfill your subconscious mind. They must increase your imagination. Otherwise, those routines are going to go to waste. Because this is that one house where your routines may come to die. Because in the subconscious mind of the spiritual world, okay, you do not need a routine unless that routine serves the purpose of going towards spiritual enlightenment. So if your everyday routine is about meditating, hiking, learning about spiritual things in the morning, if that gets interrupted, you leave your routine because you're going to go more towards that side of life. Now, if your routine is serving the agenda where your routine is helping you wake up every morning, helping you meditate, helping you go into presence of spiritual people, helping you use your imagination for your work, kind of like a writer, that's where the routine will be alive. But most of the time, if it gets disturbed a little bit, where you're not able to go towards your 12th house things, you will leave the routine. Where in the other houses, you will do whatever it takes to keep those routines. You will fight to keep those routines. Here, if somebody fights with you, you'll just leave it. Because 12th house is a very mysterious house. Here, rules don't apply, routines don't apply. And then since 6th house represents service, dedication towards other people, especially small animals, dedication towards handicapped people, this is where you want to help other people, heal other people. And in the 12th house, it shows somebody whose routine of helping people happens in hospitals, jails, or monasteries, or asylums. Maybe you're working with mentally ill people on your everyday life, and that is taking place where you go in a jail type environment. There's security everywhere because these mental patients, and then so you're working in there. And so that's where it's represented by the 12th house things. Sixth house represents service. Your service can be towards spiritual things. Your ability to have a routine, your ability to serve other people will take place either in foreign lands, in spiritual things, or in a confined private space that is happening behind the scenes. Perhaps you're working for a non-profit organization that helps people in jail, that helps inmates, that helps people in hospitals, helps very sickly people, and that becomes the routine that you are here to take. And then sixth house represents small animals. So your love for small animals shows that your ability to have an animal must serve your ability to have a higher imagination. Like if I have Yash should fulfill my spiritual needs, my need for increasing my imagination. Perhaps hanging out with my dog, I get all these ideas. I get all these, premonitions to do something. By helping other people, I get all these other ideas in life. And that's what is happening. But because 12th house is a very mysterious house, it can kill these routines in any time. If they're not serving your agenda, like people here, if the small animal or pets or dogs, cats are not really helping you feel spiritual, you wouldn't want that. Because you're simply are going, your routine is going towards spirituality, foreign lands. You want to travel to foreign lands for your service. You want to give your service towards people who are in places of foreign lands. Or your everyday work will be in a multinational company. Your everyday routine will be helping to improve a multinational company, which is very common nowadays. Okay, so that's what sixth house really represents, and then especially you can see like doctors from this, nurses from this, because 12th house is hospitals and asylums, psychiatric wards. Sixth house represents people who may have to heal or service to those people. So doctors and nurses do that. Now, 12th house is a house of addiction as well. That's where the negative side comes in. Sixth house is where you fight for drugs, fight for illegal things. Illegal activities happen in the sixth house. And then 12th house becomes the addiction of that. So in a negative way, you can find drug dealers, you can find murderers, you can find, people who are mentally ill and kill other people and end up in jail. And there's heavy addiction towards, prescription pills and drugs. But that's the negative side of it, which is, you can find, it's very common, but you may not find it in everyday life. Perhaps 1 out of every 50 people might have this problem, or 3 out of 50 people. So don't think if you have this, that's going to be you. It's just that there has to be a lot of other support from negative energies for this to happen in a chart, which obviously I will discuss one day, of charts of people who have addictions, who have sell drugs. I have all these charts, so we will discuss them one day. But depending upon what planet controls the sixth house, we'll differentiate those things. So let's discuss that. If you see any difference in lighting in the video, that's probably because I took 30 minutes off to put my little princess to sleep. So yeah, I think the sun is about to go down, but let's finish this off. So anyway, so let's say if sun controls your sixth house. Sun goes into the 12th house. What this shows is that your ego, personality, and your self-esteem goes to be killed, goes to be destroyed in the 12th house, because 12th house for sun is known as the Marna Karka position, where the ego comes to die, where the self-esteem comes to die, where your personality is kind of lost. Because here, sun is a king. 12th house is letting go of all the titles and status. And so sun feels very uncomfortable here. Sun feels like, who am I? What am I here to do? Sun is always searching. He's like, I know I am on a throne for something. I sit on a golden throne. I have this little thing on my head, the crown on my head. I'm sleep deprived, so leave me alone. So that's where sun is feeling like, I'm supposed to rule people. Here I'm in a jungle, not being able to rule people. And so what happens is here this person's routine get affected a lot. They don't know what their routines are. They don't know what's happening with their routine. Here also shows that perhaps due to suffering or abuse from father or having a lot of health problems with father. Perhaps he was alcoholic or he did drugs. You kind of moved to a foreign land. You kind of left, and you want to go into isolated places where you don't have to have your ego and your personality destroyed by the thing that created it, which is son equals father. But at the same time, it shows somebody whose personality is all about searching for scientific clues. Working in a privacy, your everyday routine could be working in a privacy of a confined space to find scientific solutions for diseases. Because Aquarius is a very scientific sign. It wants reasoning for everything that happened. Even if it's a spiritual sage. Person with sun in Pisces will say there is no reason for you to be having an Kundalini awakening. A person with an Aquarius sun will say, well, the reason why Kundalini awakening happens is because these energy chakras in your body opens up and they suddenly have this light source come in, and they will give you an explanation. Now, in reality, there may not be the right explanation. There may not be any answer to this, like the sun in Pisces guru said. But here, there is a scientific reasoning. So your personality is always questioning and reasoning everything. Why is this disease happening? Why is that happening? Why am I having this struggle? Why am I facing these enemies? And usually you face enemies in an authoritative position. Perhaps you find an enemy in the government. A lot of government activists, people who go against the government and want to blow people up, all of this can have this position because 6th house is war. And sun is a heated planet that is now lost of its cause. So it will fight the government to find a cause. Let's say moon controls your 6th house. Moon goes into the 12th house. What this shows is that your mind, your peace of mind, your happiness, your emotions are very private. You may be suffering from depression. You may be suffering from a lot of mental illness, but you'll keep that private. You will keep that away from the world. And at the same time, your mind always wants to be in a privacy of its own self. So mind wants to be in a very private setting. Anytime you want to think something clearly, you have to be in a privacy of your own self, of your own home, of a private sanctuary. It shows that these people can become nurses and doctors, especially nurses, because that's what moon is, in nourishment. You provide nourishment to the sickly, which is 6th house, because it's ruling the 6th house. Now it's in the 12th house where people may need help in a hospital, jail cell, asylum, psychiatric ward. You may go work in a monastery, help monks out, help all these spiritual sages out, and you want to nurture them. It also shows that your mother must have been a very dedicated nurse herself, or your mother traveled a lot to heal people. Your mother was working for a multinational company as a service, and she traveled a lot to foreign lands. Let's say Mercury controls your 6th house. Mercury goes into the 12th house, shows that your everyday routine will involve communication of a higher kind. You will have a spiritual intelligence. Your intelligence doesn't come from reading books. You can read all you want. You will get a little bit of it, but just through your subconscious dreams and subconscious mind and spiritual thinking, your Mercury will expand like this. And this is why these people can make brilliant writers, because their everyday routine is about writing something. Everyday routine about speaking something. So they can be really great spiritual public speakers in foreign lands. They go to foreign lands to talk about spirituality. Or they can be great writers of imaginative things, imaginative spiritual novels, and kind of like Paulo Coelho. I'm sure you guys know Alchemist and, Brida and all of these. I've read like 10 of his books, man. But that's how it is. You find your spiritual and your writing ability through spiritual things. Paulo Coelho was a drug addict. Going from drugs, he found his salvation through writing. That can happen. Here, Mercury can put you into situations where, you can be addicted to things, addicted to wrong company, wrong people. But yet, after a certain time, if your Mercury is getting support in your divisional charts, will help you express yourself and improve yourself as a human being through spirituality, imagination, other dimensionally things. Venus controls your 6th house. Venus goes into the 12th house, shows that you will have this tremendous love and passion for yoga. You will have tremendous love and passion of creating relationships with people in foreign lands who are very active in their sense, who are very determined to help other people in a sense. You might be you have this love and passion for helping small animals in a hospital. You want to provide assistance and service to other people and have relationships with people who might be sick, because that's where you feel normal. You're like, when I'm creating relationships with sick people and healing them, I feel better. Your wife will be from foreign lands. You will meet your wife in a very privacy setting, very private setting. Perhaps you are dating a girl, and the first time you guys meet, you meet in a very spiritual monastery. Like, hey, I go here every day. Why don't you come? Let's have a discussion. Let's talk. Or you might meet in a temple. Or you're traveling in foreign lands, you meet your wife. That's how you will be able to meet the other opposite sex. Mainly wife, because Venus represents wife for in a man's chart. Let's say Mars controls the 6th house. Mars goes into the 12th house, shows that this person is very active in their subconscious mind. This person becomes this soldier of healing. This person says, I'm going to heal you. Whatever it takes, I'm going to heal you. I'm going to make it happen for you. So they became great Ayurvedic doctors, yoga teachers, pretty much somebody who has the energy and passion to heal other people. You may travel to foreign lands to fight, because 6th house represents fighting, war zone. It's a war zone. So you as a soldier, because in 6th house, if Mars rules it, can make somebody a soldier. You go to foreign lands to fight other countries. Perhaps you're a professional boxer and athlete. You go to foreign lands to compete. But here it shows that you may have power struggles with spiritual people. You may not really be a spiritual person. You have this strict belief system that you want to go with, and nobody can hinder that. So usually it represents more of a person who is working in a hospital jail setting. Like, you can be a warden who might be spiritual, but you're a warden. You're going to kick the prisoner's ass if he does something, but you want to give them a Bible to read, like they do here. So it's not necessarily a spiritual person, but somebody who uses spirituality for their physical activity. They want to be physical in that jungle. Okay. Let's say if Jupiter controls your 6th house and goes into the 12th house, shows that your everyday routine must involve communication of higher kind. It must involve motivating other people spiritually. You want to, go to spiritual places, go to foreign lands and meet spiritual gurus who will show you your dharma in this life. They will show you, like Jupiter here now goes into the 12th house, shows that you would want to meet a guru who can help you with everyday routines, who can help you with everyday work life, and shows that your intelligence regarding everyday life, regarding everyday routine, really comes through spirituality, really comes through a divine source. Now here's the thing though, Jupiter here can either be a very good communicator of spirituality, or just might be stuck and has trouble expressing themselves regarding spirituality. Jupiter can here be nitpicking all the details of spirituality. Okay, the reason why this happened, kind of like Aquarius, is like they get stuck into the small details and they're not able to see the bigger picture. So Jupiter kind of struggles here, especially if it's in Virgo, where it's trying to find the spiritual meaning of life, but then it wants to go into the small details, and it says, oh no, that's not the meaning, because this is what happened. Look what happens here. It's like they try to compartmentalize every aspect of their subconscious mind. They have tremendous intelligence, spiritual intelligence. They make great astrologers. However, they're quite strict in their belief. They are always nitpicking their own belief. That one minute this is the belief, next minute this is the belief, because of the fact they find flaws in spiritual thinking. They find flaws into other people who are giving spiritual thinking. So what happens is Jupiter kind of criticizes spirituality and tries to cultivate its own meaning, which is not true. So as much as a person with this Jupiter tries to sound intelligent that, okay, this is what this is, they actually do not know, because true spirituality is realized through Pisces sign, Sagittarius sign, where it's not about the small little details, but the broad stroke. That's what the true education of spirituality is. But you're going to go to foreign lands and become an accountant, financial analyst, work in foreign banks as a Jupiter controlling this house. And let's say if Saturn controls your 6th house, goes into the 12th house, shows that somebody who can become a warden, very strict warden in a jail cell. You may be in a wrong crowd in foreign lands, or people from foreign lands make you addicted to certain substances. These people can have a drug problem. With Mars and Mars and Saturn, that I forgot to tell, is that these people can have a drug problem, especially with Saturn, because Saturn represents your lessons that you must learn. And here Saturn's going to try to teach you with the people of the lower class. He's going to give you company of people who are going to isolate you from your family, isolate you from the rest of the world, and they will get you into trouble where perhaps you might go to jail. Or you might be a very strict politician on foreign policies. You might be a foreign policy administrator, because Saturn represents, government as well, along with the Sun. He's the minister. He's the one who goes out and implements the law. So you can go to foreign lands to become a judge. Like, you came from India, you went to law school in US. After practicing for 15, 20 years, you decide to be elected for a judge and you get elected. So you become a judge in foreign lands, and your everyday routine is about setting laws and rules in a workplace, setting laws and rules in a spiritual place. So obviously, a spiritual guru with this kind of a placement will have certain strict rituals that you must follow in order to understand spirituality. And those routines must be followed in order for them to be your guru as well. Or you yourself are this person who has a strict routine regarding spirituality where you do not need it. Imagination is always stuck in conflict. You have such a hard time trying to imagine certain things, trying to come up with certain stories, trying to find beauty into imagination. You're always like, I think I'm supposed to be working. What am I doing thinking by myself? So here that trouble comes in through the subconscious mind with Saturn, right? So guys, this is my analysis of 6th Lord in the 12th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your 6th Lord is placed and all the secrets of astrology through my books, check out the link here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time with 7th Lord in the 1st house. Bye-bye.